Have you ever reached a goal you've been striving for? And instead of joy, you felt empty? You get the promotion you worked years for, you finish the marathon, you buy the dream house, but the euphoria lasts for a day, maybe a week, and then it's gone. And the same old anxiety, the same feeling of, is this all there is, creeps back in. This condition has a modern name: arrival fallacy, or achievement depression. But its most profound and detailed diagnosis was written nearly 3,000 years ago by a man who had absolutely everything. His name was Solomon, king of Israel. And his story is a terrifying and ultimately liberating exploration of what happens when you win the game of life and find the prize worthless. To truly understand his crisis, we must first appreciate the staggering scale of his success. Solomon wasn't just a king. He was a global phenomenon, a brand unto himself. Imagine the philosophical depth of Marcus Aurelius, the legendary wealth of a modern tech titan, and the creative vision of a master architect, all embodied in one man. The ancient texts paint a vivid picture. His wisdom was so profound that rulers, like the Queen of Sheba, traveled for months just for a consultation, bringing immense fortunes in exchange for his insights. He was the world's ultimate consultant, solving complex geopolitical and legal cases. His wealth was a torrent. He established international trade routes, his ships bringing back gold, silver, ivory, and exotic animals. His capital, Jerusalem, became a glittering metropolis. He oversaw monumental building projects, the centerpiece being the legendary temple, an architectural wonder of the ancient world, a project of breathtaking scale and expense. And on a personal level, he denied himself nothing. A court of 1,000 wives and concubines, vineyards, gardens, pools, singers, entertainers. Every possible sensory pleasure was at his fingertips. He climbed every mountain of human achievement. He reached the absolute summit and found nothing there but cold, thin air. This is the starting point for his philosophical masterpiece, the Book of Ecclesiastes. It is the logbook of a man who has exhausted the world's potential for happiness and is left with a profound sense of disillusionment. The book opens with its famous, haunting diagnosis. "Vanity of vanities," says the preacher. "Vanity of vanities. All is vanity." The word used here in many translations, vanity, can be misleading to our modern ears. The original Hebrew word, hevel, points to something far deeper than simple pride. It means vapor, mist, a puff of smoke. It describes the feeling of something being fleeting, ungraspable. Like the modern concept of the rat race, a constant, exhausting movement that ultimately feels futile. Think of your breath on a cold winter day. You can see it for a moment. It's real. It proves you are alive. But you cannot grasp it. The moment you try to hold it, it vanishes into nothing. This is Solomon's core psychological insight. Life, with all its achievements and pleasures, isn't necessarily meaningless. But it is ungraspable. It is fundamentally ephemeral. And his crisis stems from the exhausting, maddening attempt to capture and possess the unpossessable essence of lasting happiness and meaning. It is the crisis of a man trying to build a solid house out of smoke. The book, then, can be read as the detailed lab notes of a series of profound psychological experiments Solomon performs on himself, searching for something solid in a world of vapor. Experiment number 1. Hedonism. I said in my heart, he writes, "Come now, I will test you with pleasure. Enjoy yourself." He dives headfirst into the pursuit of joy. He surrounds himself with wine, music, art, women. As he says, "Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them." The result? It leads not to fulfillment, but to a profound sense of weariness. He concludes, "And behold, all was vanity and a striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun." Pleasure is real, but it is a flickering candle, not a constant sun. It provides temporary distraction, not lasting meaning. This is a perfect diagnosis of our modern entertainment culture. The endless scroll through social media, the binge watching of entire seasons in a weekend, the constant chase for new experiences, new foods, new travels. Each promises a lasting hit of happiness, but delivers only a brief, fleeting distraction before the baseline of boredom returns, and we are left needing the next one. Experiment number 2. Workaholism and achievement. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. He writes. He then turns to great works. I made great works. I built houses and planted vineyards. I made myself gardens and parks. He becomes the ultimate achiever, the titan of industry, the master builder. The result? This too turns to ash in his mouth. It brings a deep, gnawing anxiety about legacy and mortality. He writes with brutal honesty, I hated all my toil in which I toil under the sun, seeing that I must leave it to the man who will come after me, and who knows whether he will be wise or a fool. This is the silent scream of every modern workaholic, every entrepreneur who sacrifices their health and relationships for a company, a project, a fortune. The realization that all this effort, all this hustle, will one day be out of your hands. It's the crisis of the CEO who retires and no longer knows who they are without their title. It is the pain of building a sandcastle against the coming tide. Experiment number 3, intellectualism. Finally, the wisest man in the world pursues wisdom itself. He dedicates himself to study, to philosophy, to understanding the patterns of the world. Surely here he will find meaning, and this, perhaps, is the most painful conclusion of all. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. The more you know, the more you see. You see the world's brokenness, its intractable injustices, its inevitable cycles of death and decay. You see your own mortality with terrifying clarity. This is the anxiety of our modern information age. The 24-hour news cycle, the endless academic debates, the doom scrolling through evidence of climate change and political strife. We have more knowledge at our fingertips than any generation in history. And yet, it often brings not peace, but a sense of overwhelming powerlessness and sorrow. Have you ever found yourself running on one of these paths? The frantic chase for pleasure, the exhausting grind of work, the overwhelming weight of too much knowledge. If this ancient search feels relevant to your modern life, please take a moment to like this video. It is the most helpful way to let us know that these deep conversations are valuable to you. So what is happening here, psychologically? Solomon has, with painful precision, described a principle that modern psychology has given a name: the hedonistic treadmill. The theory, developed by psychologists like Brickman and Campbell, observes that humans have an incredible ability to adapt to new circumstances, both good and bad. When something good happens, like winning the lottery or getting a promotion, we feel an initial spike in happiness. But very quickly, we adapt. That new reality becomes our new baseline, and we return to our original level of happiness, now needing an even bigger win to feel the same jolt of pleasure. We are running faster and faster on a treadmill, but our emotional scenery never really changes. Solomon is the man who built the world's most luxurious, high-tech treadmill. He could load it with any experience, any achievement he wanted. And what he discovered was that the machine itself is a trap. It doesn't go anywhere. And this profound realization, this hitting of the wall at the end of every possible human endeavor, leads him not to a final answer, but to a radical shift in perspective. When the grand projects of accumulating pleasure, wealth, and wisdom all prove to be hevel, a puff of smoke, what is left? What is solid? His conclusion is startling in its simplicity, its down-to-earth wisdom. There is nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. He repeatedly comes back to this idea. The simple joy of a shared meal, the quiet satisfaction in a day's work well done, the love of a partner, the warmth of the sun on your skin. This isn't a philosophy of cynical resignation. It is a radical philosophy of presence. It's the discovery that we've been looking for meaning in all the wrong places. We've been looking for it in the grand, spectacular, and future-oriented achievements. Solomon suggests that true, solid meaning is not found in some great destination at the end of the road. It's found in the texture of the road itself, in the small, daily, embodied realities we so often overlook in our frantic race for more. It's a call to step off the treadmill. This leads to the book's famous and often misunderstood conclusion: the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This can sound like a sudden, jarring return to Orthodox religion after a book full of radical doubt. But what if we read it through the psychological lens we've been developing? Perhaps fear God doesn't mean to be scared of a punishing deity. In wisdom literature, fear is closer to awe or reverence. What if it means to live in a state of awe before the profound, ungraspable mystery of existence? To accept that the universe is infinitely larger than your ego, your plans, and your desperate need for control. It is the ultimate antidote to the self-obsessed engine of the hedonistic treadmill. And perhaps keep His commandments is not about blind, legalistic rule-following. What if it means finding a sense of purpose not in your own self-generated, vaporous projects, but in aligning yourself with a transcendent, meaningful order? It is the profound psychological shift from "what can I get from the world" to "what does life and the mystery behind it ask of me?" This, then, is Solomon's cure for the depression of success, a radical decentering of the self, a shift from the ego's frantic chase for more to the soul's quiet embrace of enough. From the grand to the simple, from the future to the now. And it leaves us with some powerful, probing questions for our own lives. In your own relentless pursuit of happiness, what treadmill are you currently running on? Is it the treadmill of your career, of social status, of accumulating new experiences? And what solid, simple joy might you discover if you only had the courage to open your hand and let it go? This journey from the frantic chase to quiet presence is at the very heart of what we explore at Soul Scripts. If this conversation has offered you a moment of clarity in your own race, help us share that clarity. Consider sharing this video with one person who you think might be running on their own treadmill. And subscribe to continue stepping off that treadmill with us into a deeper understanding of these timeless stories.